In this week's Gospel, we hear the very familiar story of the supposed three wise men who came to visit Jesus. I say supposed because the Bible doesn't actually call them wise men, it calls them magi, and that's kind of an important word. And it doesn't actually say that there are three of them, it just says that multiple magi delivered three gifts to Jesus. But we can assume there were three of these guys, at least, with these three gifts. Lots of stuff we could pull apart in this reading. We're not going to try to touch on all of it. Just a couple of things about these gifts: the gold, the frankincense, and the myrrh. The very familiar song for this day, "We Three Kings of Orient," right? Of Orient are bearing gifts we traverse afar. It talks about the gifts, and it gives us a little bit of commentary about what do these things symbolize for Jesus, right? And so, born a king on Bethlehem's plain, gold I bring to crown him again. Gold symbolizes that this baby, born in a cave in Bethlehem and laid in a feeding trough, is destined to be a king, not just of this earth, but of the entire universe, right? Several weeks ago, we celebrated this feast of Christ, the King of the universe, right? And so the gold symbolizes that he's going to be king. Frankincense, to offer have I. Incense owns a deity nigh, right? Incense, frankincense is this incense that you would burn to worship a deity, a god, right? And we still do this at Mass. The plumes of smoke coming out of the censer very often is frankincense, incense, right? And so this symbolizes that this baby, born in a cave and laid in a manger, isn't just a human child, he's actually God in human flesh. Kind of a cool symbolism there, right? And then myrrh. Myrrh is mine, its bitter perfume breathes a life of gathering gloom, right? So myrrh symbolizes death. It was a spice that was used to anoint people's bodies for burial. And so the myrrh points ahead towards the fact that Jesus, this baby, born in a cave outside of Bethlehem and laid in a feeding trough, is going to die to take away our sins. And we all know the story doesn't end there. He rises to new life so that you and I can have new life. That's what these gifts should remind us of, is who this baby is. But there's more to this. A lot of biblical scholars will point out that these magi from the east, magi is the root of the word magician, by the way, right? They're sorcerers. They're traveling from afar to offer tribute to this newborn king, and the way you would offer tribute is you would give tools of your trade. So if I'm a carpenter, I would maybe offer up a hammer and nails to symbolize my life is in the hands of this deity. So what are these magi doing with gold, frankincense, and myrrh? We know gold, frankincense, and myrrh are all things that were used in Eastern astrologers' incantation spells, right? So that would be gold flecks that they would put in the ink so that the ink, their writings would glow. Frankincense and myrrh, same sorts of things. So these were, many scholars would think, these are gifts to Jesus. They're tools of the trade of the magi. They're their source of livelihood. And so there's an interesting challenge there for us to recognize in these gifts who Jesus is and what they point to with who Jesus is. But also, these magi are setting an example for all of us. We should all offer to Jesus the tools of our trades, the gifts that sustain us in life, right? And so, parents, you're professionals. What are the tools of your trade? You don't have to physically offer these to God, right? But what are the tools of your trade? The tools of my trade as a guy who teaches religion might be the Bible that I teach from that has all my notes in it, right? And so I can offer this to the Lord to say, but the whole reason I have this job is because you gave it to me. The whole reason I'm able to do this job day in and day out is because you sustain me in it. Right? The whole reason you're an attorney, a doctor, a teacher, or whatever it is that you do is because the Lord put you in that position and he gave you the gifting to be able to do it. And so you should offer those gifts to God as you serve in that role. Right? As I'm teaching the faith, I need to offer that to God. As you're being a lawyer, as you're teaching, as you're working in medicine, as you're doing administrative duties, whatever it is that you do, offer those to the Lord. Students, the tools of your trade are your backpack, your pencils, your pens, your notebooks, your textbooks, your homework assignments, your tests. All these things we're supposed to offer to God. The only reason you can do those things is because God gave you interests and abilities and resources. All these things are gifts from God. So just like the Magi offer those to baby Jesus, we need to offer the gifts of our trade, of our livelihoods to the Lord. So it'll be some interesting discussion today to think of what are the tools of our trades, what are the talents that we can offer to the Lord just like the Magi did.